We're going to spend a few minutes now talking about Category 2 offenses. Remember, these are things that you will be suspended for and could possibly even be expelled for. This is serious stuff. What it means is, instead of being in the game, you're going to be sitting on the bench. It's not a place you want to be, trust me. Do the right thing. Stay in the game.
The first offense under Category 2, which is letter A, is pulling a fire alarm or a false fire report by some other means, such as a phone call. This is a serious offense because it interrupts instruction and it puts our community at risk, since the fire company will report to our school if an alarm is pulled. The second offense under Category 2, letter B, is the possession or detonation of any explosive device. This would include things like firecrackers, sparklers, or fireworks. This is an obvious danger to our school community.
Let's talk for a moment about letters C, D, and E in Category 2. These are offenses that have to do either with threatening someone, that's letters C and E, or actually physically attacking someone, which is letter D. It's important to note that it is against school rules to threaten people. Just making a threat is enough to get you suspended from school. It's also important to note that each one of these three offenses, C, D, and E, are not only offenses for Baltimore County Public Schools, but they are also things for which you might be charged by the police. These are things we want to avoid at all costs, ladies and gentlemen. We don't want to threaten each other, and we definitely don't want to physically attack anyone.
The next section in Category 2 is dangerous substances, and this covers letters F through K. What I want you to notice is nearly all of these items, all of these offenses, F through K, have to do with the possession of something that you're not allowed to have in school. There are a couple of important points to keep in mind about possession. First, it's important for you to understand that possession is not the same thing as ownership. You can possess something that does not belong to you. So if, for example, a friend gives you one of the items that are listed in letters F through K in Category 2, you are in possession of that item even though that item may belong to a friend of yours. This is why it's very important that you don't share your locker and that you're very cautious about holding things for other students. If someone asks you to hold on to one of these items that's listed in this section of the handbook or one of the other items in the handbook that are prohibited, your answer has to be no. Even if you don't own it, if you possess it, you can get in trouble. Possession includes your backpack, your jacket, your pants pockets, and if you're a young lady, your purse. It also includes lockers. Now, what is prohibited? First, fake drugs, over-the-counter drugs, drug paraphernalia, prescription drugs, buying fake drugs, and tobacco. Category 2M is disruptive behavior that results in the interference with the normal school program, including repeated Category 1 or 2 offenses. Basically, what this means is you get too many office referrals and you could be expelled from school.
Now we're going to spend a couple of minutes talking about Category 2N, which is bullying and harassment. You know, Mr. Marutek and Mr. Huber are funny guys, but bullying, harassment, and intimidation, it's not a laughing matter. In fact, we take that very seriously here at Stemmers Run Middle School. You can find a definition for bullying, harassment, and intimidation on page 9 of the Student Handbook. And I would encourage you to read over those definitions very carefully so that you know what it is that each one of those things entails. But the reality is we all sort of know what bullying is. It's when somebody gets picked on by other kids because they're weaker or different or at least perceived that way by others. And it's not okay for that to happen, not here and not anywhere else. The most important thing I want you to know about bullying, harassment, and intimidation is this. If you are the victim of it, or if you witness it, if you see someone else being victimized, the most important thing you can do is to tell an adult. That adult might be an administrator, might be a guidance counselor, it might be a trusted teacher, or it might even be an adult at home. But you need to tell someone so that we have the opportunity to do something about it and to put an end to it. We will take action, including suspension and possibly even expulsion, for students who are bullying others or harassing others or intimidating them. So please keep that in mind. Let us know if you see it or are victimized by it so that we can address it.
Offenses Q and R both are sexual offenses. Letter Q, inappropriate behavior of a sexual nature, and letter R, indecent exposure. Weapons are discussed in greater detail in Category 3, which we'll get to in a few minutes, but there is a Category 2 weapons offense that is included in our handbook as well. First of all, it's important to note that look-alike weapons are not acceptable in school, even if those look-alike weapons are toys. You cannot bring any look-alike weapons to school. The second Category 2 weapons offense, offense letter T, involves the possession of a pocket knife at school. A pocket knife is defined as a knife that does not have a locking or serrated blade and has a blade smaller than 3 inches. Finishing out Category 2 is a collection of other offenses which might get you in trouble here at Stemmers Runner and other Baltimore County public schools. Letter U includes destruction and or vandalism of school property, the personal property of students or faculty, and this includes the receipt, sale, possession, or distribution of property that is stolen from Baltimore County public schools. Restitution is required, either monetary or school work project, for anything that is damaged through vandalism. Letter V involves the exchange of money for an illegal purpose. Letter W in Category 2 refers to reckless endangerment resulting in injury to another person. What this means is if you do something that is reckless and as a result of that you hurt someone else, even if it's by accident, you are held responsible for that injury and you may be suspended from school. Letter X in Category 2 is theft and or knowingly possessing stolen property. Please keep in mind this means if you possess property that you know is stolen, even if you're not the one who actually took the property, you can get in trouble for possessing it. Letter Y is trespassing. Letter Z in Category 2 is a violation of the Telecommunications Acceptable Use Policy for Baltimore County Public Schools. You can find that acceptable use policy on page 15 of your student handbooks. I'm not going to cover that policy in detail, but it's something that you should read carefully, make sure that you understand, and if you have any questions about it, see one of your administrators. And finally, letters AA are a violation of the gang policy by confirmed involvement in gang activities. Again, if you need further details about this particular policy, you can refer to page 9 in the student handbook. There is a section there about gang activity, and if you read through that section, it will give you more information about this particular offense.